list of the roughly 150 people in there, and the topics they're discussing, including growth, big data, and current affairs.
No-fly zone.
The protesters outside accuse this group of everything, from climate change to coups, but they're mainly annoyed about the lack of transparency. The man in the middle of the crowd is Alex Jones, king of the conspiracy theorists. Are there any conspiracy theories out there that you think are just too nuts, just too extreme? About these guys?
Yeah, I don't personally think they're extraterrestrials or anything like some people say.
Scary stuff, but this protest seems more like a slightly weird party.
It's just corporate megadeth. So we're here to destroy them all.
See them.
It's surrounded by a ring of steel and a big but fairly relaxed police presence, which Bilderberg veterans say is a big change.
Well, I had a baptism of fire in 2009, just outside Athens, so I went along, tried to cover it, and spent a week being arrested, re-arrested.
While for residents of Watford, it's a bit so what?
Well, I heard it was a secret shadow government meeting, hadn't been held in England for a long, long while.
And what do you think of that?
What?
Secret shadow government.
That?
Back at base, very few of the 22 invitees from the
This
UK
is the trouble with the BBC, though. They just ridicule everything.
Well, I just managed to speak to a very senior Bilderberger on the phone. I asked him why all the secrecy, and he said until the 1990s they used to hold press conferences after every meeting, but no journalists turned up, so they stopped doing them. Then, as if by magic, a member of the organisation's influential steering committee turned up in the BBC's offices.
What goes with Bilderberg is an informal discussion about politics and the world's problems with a lot of politicians in business. We always produce a list of who's there, it's not secret.
Yeah,
but we don't
just sit around drinking tea, having a game of golf.
So it's a good informal weekend where we get together. The internet is full of nutty theories about how we're ruling the world, how to invade America, we're poisoning the water sources, all this kind of thing.
Maybe not so sinister after all, but luckily I'm told there's a Bilderberg splinter group called the Trilateral, which includes the Chinese. You know how open they are.
That was Adam Fleming, from Watford. We've not seen him since. So you see him pointing back here. We're joined by Alex Jones, an American shock jock. He's been campaigning for more openness at the Bilderberg conference. David Aronovich, who's always snippy about conspiracy theories. He's a columnist for The Times. Alex Jones, you've been covering Bilderberg for a long time. What have you ever found out about it?
In that piece you just played, there's nothing in the water. Hydrofluorosilicic acid in major Harvard studies has been causing a 7-fold increase in bone cancer.
What's that got to do with Bilderberg?
What have I discovered about Bilderberg? The
Yeah.
BBC was able to get the documents decades ago that they helped found the Euro, which was actually a Nazi German plan to take over countries economically. No, that's on record. And I've interviewed members of the EU Parliament on the subject who were out there at the event.
But what's that?
3,000 people. They turned 1,000. Bilderberg is heavily involved in the EU plan and helped hatch it, and it is a Nazi plan. They had Lockheed scandals, just like the big lobbying scandals right now in the 70s. That's why the SS officer, Prince Bernhard, the founder, had to step down. It is the ultimate lobbying meeting while you guys have this huge scandal going on. Your prime minister's going there. Balls was just here, Bilderberg group member. We have forced them from cover to admit that there are puppeteers above the major parties.
David Aronovich. So now we know.
Now
we know that Bilderberg is giving us people.
Yes, I mean, if you talk to Alex for any length of time, you discover all kinds of things that you haven't known about the world.
You've blown it wide open.
You have absolutely blown it wide open. But it leaves me with a huge question for you, Alex, and it's really, you have uncovered the New World Order, which is deadly. It's full of what you call people who are criminals. Well, this is what I'm coming to. It's full of criminals, etc., who seek to run the world and will kill anybody who gets in their way. And you are almost have been a lone crusader powering against them. So how are you still alive? Well, no, which is the explanation? One, they don't exist. or two, you're part of the conspiracy.
No, let me tell you a story.
I say the first.
5 years ago when Obama and Hillary,
I say the second.
5 years ago when Hillary and Obama were at Bilderberg and the Secret Service was there in helicopters, the New York Times came out and said I was crazy. There was no Bilderberg group meeting. And my wife got phone calls, and so did I, threatening to kill us. And the people said, and you better take it serious because you were just talking to your dad that was in the hospital. You better shut your mouth or we're going to cut your head off.
But
Now that's the
going to kill
they listen to everybody's phone line. They call up and harass people that expose them and tell them what they were just talking about.
They harass
You're going to
people.
say there's no spies.
Alex,
It's like not Germany. You only spy on the bad guys, huh?
You let him speak.
Well,
Alex,
I saw one of your ministers say this stuff.
No, Alex, I'm here.
It's tyranny.
No, shut up. I'm here to testify that your head was not cut off.
They tell me it turns me into a martyr. It puts big exclamation points on the end of what I've said, and I have put out a lot of information. There's millions of others that are exposing it. And look, we have mega banks that are getting $85 million a month of U.S. taxpayer money. Most of it goes to Europe and England. British taxpayers, EU taxpayers have to pay to these mega bankers. They're in there setting this up. It's come out. And then the media distracts you with, oh, look at a guy that goes to a lobbyist.
Right.
When the real lobbyist is going on.
Listen, you're not going to dominate this. He gets to speak too. It's not your own radio show. Should we be worried about Bilderberg Group at all?
It's kind of, it's mildly interesting to Bilderberg Group, and it feels, doesn't it, when you were talking about it, and I've gone slightly kind of out of date, it's belonging to the era when you couldn't even admit in Parliament that there was a soothsayer, you know, when we called the head of MI5M or whatever it was we called it, we couldn't admit these things. And so to the extent that it seems
People
like
weren't ready to spy on yet.
what was that about?
People haven't been acclimated yet.
Would you let him finish?
We're in a police state. It's 1984.
Well, how come
just want to normalize it.
Would you let him
Alex,
finish?
how come you're here? If we're in a police station, how come
They
you're
actually
here?
turned back some of my reporters, but they didn't turn me back, and I was told this because they don't want to make a stink.
Do you think the BBC is part of the Bilderberg Group?
Well, you know, Winston Smith did work here. I mean, come on, Eric Blair worked here, and that's what he said it was.
Why do you think we let
George
you on?
Orwell.
Why we let you on then?
Because you guys think that you can manage the whole thing, and now our information's gotten too big. I have 3 million radio listeners a day. That's a low number. 3 million. I get about 50 million YouTube views a month. That's a very conservative number. I make films, put them online for free. They get watched 40 million times, like the Obama deception. And that's why, because the establishment doesn't know what to do.
Now, Alex has this point, and it's an important one. I would have, say, 10 years ago said, listen to all this stuff. He believes that people put cancer virus in vaccine in order to create a eugenics program. That's what he believes.
We talk about medical
and we would have said, and I would have said, hey, that's kind of mad and so on. And it's an interesting psychological phenomenon.
Like the speaking, like
the problem is, the conspiracy theories like this, I believe in.
Hey, listen, I'm here to warn people. You keep telling me to shut up. This isn't a game. Okay, our government in the U.S. is building FEMA camps. We have an NDAA where they disappear people now. You have this arrest for public safety, life in prison.
You are the worst person I've ever interviewed.
No, it's basically
He gets too carried away with himself, that's his trouble.
11:30. You're watching the Sunday Sunday. We have an idiot on the program today. Coming up in just 20 minutes.
You will not stop the Republic. Humanity is awakening. Infowars.com. No, you guys are
Probably looking at the week ahead with our political panel. Until then, the Sunday politics across the UK.
They are not so